Okay, so we are going to break this is a pretty big PowerPoint into some pretty hopefully digestible parts for you guys. Today's going to be very short. We're just going to kind of introduce the Constitution, talk a little bit about what it replaced. It's the living document that we use today. So, and we're obviously talking about the backbone of all government and law, from the federal government all the way down to the smallest of governments in the United States, is the United States Constitution. So, what is it? It is it's really a pretty amazing document that's only formally been changed 27 times in the history of our country, and it is a social contract. It is. We talked about this the other day. And in fact, a lot of what we'll talk about today, we've already mentioned a little bit, but we're just going to kind of review as we head into all of the articles over the course of the next couple of weeks. But it is a social contract, which is like what we talked about. And it's an agreement between the members of an organized society and its government that defines and limits the rights and duties of each. In other words, it defines and limits the rights of people, but it also defines and limits the rights of what your government can do and cannot do, as well as your state and local governments. The structure we'll kind of get into just a little bit today as far as the basic structure, and we'll start talking about powers when we get into Article 1 in the next couple of days. We won't really get into rights today either. We'll do that when we cover the amendments. And so this is the basic structure. There are 8 parts, including the preamble and 7 articles. And so today we're just going to go up through the preamble, and then we'll kind of break down each article thereafter. We'll probably combine a couple of them along the way, because some of them are shorter and don't deal with as many important things as far as what we're concerned with. But we really want to hit Article 1, 2, and 3 pretty hard. But that's the basic structure of it. And this is really what we're going to leave off today, which is the preamble. And the preamble states the purpose. What are we trying to accomplish here? And we'll just kind of review these. We, the people of the United States, number one, in order to form a more perfect union. And that kind of goes to what it was replacing, which were the Articles of Confederation. If you remember, that got them through the American Revolution, but they very quickly found out that it had a lot of imperfections. It was really limited in terms of what it could accomplish. So the goal was to form a more perfect union. And number 2 is to establish justice. We talked about that a little bit the other day. That's really to keep peace and try to encourage people to follow laws, and that includes, civil law and criminal law. Ensure domestic tranquility means that it's not just about peace, but kind of an enduring peace. There's things in place to help ensure that. Provide for the common defense. That could be foreign people that might try to do us harm, or countries, or even domestic. And then promote the general welfare. And that is, I always kind of think that 5 and 6 really are connected. Well, they're all connected, but 5 and 6 really go well together. That the general welfare is the well-being of the country. And I think if you think about what's going on right now, and I know there's debates about the pandemic in terms of when we open up businesses and things like that, the whole idea of what everybody's trying to accomplish is to keep us safe, to keep us from contracting the virus that's spreading, and then lastly, to secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity. In other words, to secure the blessings of liberty, the freedoms that we are granting to ourselves and our posterity. That's for the coming generations. And when you think about the way the document is written, there's certain things that they approach with a very, I would say, kind of open-ended, and we'll get into this when we get into Article 1, actually. They leave it kind of open-ended up because they knew that there would be things that would come up that they'd never seen. Societies change. What people find acceptable versus what they don't find acceptable change. And so they tried to leave it a document that would do these things for us for future generations. Okay? And then lastly, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. And when we get to the very last article, or I think it's the Article 7, we talk about ratification. Okay, that's it for today, and we will see you on next week.